Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. New clusters of COVID-19 have started to appear around the world in countries thought to have passed the worst phase of the crisis. The United States has recorded the second largest increase in coronavirus cases since the health crisis began. Overall cases have risen 25% since last week, with 10 states reporting a greater than 50% rise in new infections. In South America, Chile has passed the grim milestones of 250,000 cases and almost 5,000 deaths. However, Health Minister Enrique París said the most recent figures pointed to a slight improvement in the pandemic. Tensions remain high in Naples in Italy, where the government deployed the army in a nearby town after some 49 people tested positive for the virus. Soldiers stood at barricades and police at checkpoints, while angry residents complained they had little information about what was happening. In Portugal, the government has announced people in several parts of Greater Lisbon will have to return to isolation from next week, as the Portuguese authorities deal with a worrying wave of new cases in the city's outskirts. In the United States, the Trump administration has asked the US Supreme Court to invalidate Obamacare, which has provided health insurance to millions of Americans. Government lawyers said the act became invalid when the previous Republican-led Congress axed parts of it. Democratic challenger Joe Biden attacked the move, saying Mr. Trump had put millions of lives at risk during the coronavirus pandemic. A new record-high temperature has been recorded in Siberia beyond the Arctic Circle. Experts say this is a warning cry from the Arctic. Thermometers reported a blistering temperature of 38 degrees Celsius beyond the Arctic Circle. The extreme heat is fanning the unusual extent of wildfires across the boreal forest and the tundra in northern Russia. Scientists believe climate change is causing the Arctic to warm twice as fast as the rest of the world, and the Siberian heatwave would be typical of this trend. Thousands of Burundians have lined the road to the capital Gitega as the body of former President Pierre Nkurunziza was escorted for a state funeral. He ruled the Central African country for 15 years and died 2 weeks ago of what the government said was heart failure at the age of 55. However, rumours suggest he may have caught the coronavirus, as his wife had been flown to Nairobi for treatment for the virus just 2 weeks before. Friday was declared a national holiday for the funeral. Thailand and Myanmar have destroyed illicit drugs worth more than $2 billion in an annual event to mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse. The Thai Food and Drug Administration officials incinerated 25 tons of confiscated drugs, including methamphetamine, ice, ecstasy, cocaine and heroin. Myanmar's police also burned a drug haul worth $144 million. The countries remain among the biggest producers of heroin in the world. In Kenya, the pandemic is jeopardizing a pioneering project to preserve the northern white rhino. The international travel restrictions caused by the pandemic are forcing the organisation behind the project, Bioforce, to delay some of its key procedures. The northern white rhino is on the brink of extinction due to heavy poaching. The only surviving northern white rhinos are a mother and a daughter, both infertile, making them the world's most endangered mammal. Lightning strikes have killed at least 117 people in 2 of the most populous Indian states. At least 93 people were killed in the state of Bihar, and another 24 people died in Uttar Pradesh. Most of the victims were farmers working outdoors in the open. Lightning and thunderstorms are common in this season in northern India, but experts believe climate change is contributing to storms becoming more frequent and more extreme. And finally, a Japanese startup has developed an internet-connected smart mask that can transmit messages and translate from Japanese into 8 other languages.
It's hot today, too.
The white plastic sea mask fits over standard face masks and connects via Bluetooth to a smartphone and tablet application that can transcribe speech into text messages, make calls, or amplify the mask wearer's voice. The first 5,000 sea masks will be shipped to buyers in Japan, but the enterprise is looking to sell in China, the United States, and Europe as well. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.